You ever just play a game so much and all you want to do is talk about it, but there's nobody around, so now you just have to film a video for the internet? That's kind of where I'm at right now with Moonlighter. Hey guys, Danny back again from the Couch Gnomes with another video diary for you today. After working on the top 10 games of 2018 one, I really wanted to do more of these kind of videos, and I'm going to try and stick to it. 2019 hopefully is going to have a lot of these for you guys. So I've been looking at this game for quite some time, and I plan on picking it up on Switch on day one, but it actually came out much later than it did on every other platform. I ended up playing a bunch of other indie games to hold me off until it finally came to Switch, but then I got backlogged and fell really far behind. But now I'm finally playing it, and I've been playing it non-stop. So now I'm going to talk about it. The basic plot of this game is that you live in a small town called Renoka, where you play as Will, a young shopkeeper who just really wants to become a hero and explore a bunch of dungeons just outside of the city. The game's a roguelite RPG, where there's basically two main parts of the gameplay, dungeon crawling and maintaining your shop. The goal of the game is basically to plunder dungeons to find items, then take them back home so you can sell them and upgrade your shop in the town to attract new customers and make even more money. So let's talk about the dungeons first. There are 4 basic dungeons in this game, but you only start with one of them, and you unlock the rest as you defeat the bosses. In the dungeons, you're limited to a fairly small inventory, and you can't upgrade it, so you need to learn quickly what's important, what'll sell well, and what you need to craft better equipment. But you do get a few really cool merchant tools, such as the merchant mirror, which turns item into gold, but not as much as you'd get if you were selling them in your shop. You also get the merchant pendant, which lets you leave the dungeon and return to the shop with whatever items you've collected so far. And lastly, there's the merchant emblem. It opens a portal so you can go back to your shop, drop off your items, and then return to the dungeon to keep plundering. But it only works for the day that you used it. So if you go to sleep, open the shop, or do anything to progress to the next day, that portal's done, and you wasted a couple $1,000 on it. But you can't explore a bunch of dungeons without a crap ton of monsters to get in the way. It'd just be too easy. All these monsters attack differently, so you need to figure out which set of weapons works best for you. You can choose between a sword and shield, a big sword, a spear, gloves, and a bow and arrow, and you can have 2 equipped at once. I personally have been using the melee gloves and the bow and arrow a lot. But monsters aren't the only obstacle you have to deal with. The items you find sometimes come with some complications. Items that you find in chests occasionally come out cursed, which means they'll have certain stipulations for when you try and take them. Some items need to be aligned a specific way in your inventory. Others will shatter if you take too much damage or destroy other items in certain directions. And some items are a mystery until you actually leave the dungeon, so it could be something useful or it could be something really basic that just took up a spot for something else. At the end of every dungeon there's a boss that'll absolutely smack you down until you learn what you need to do to defeat it. And when you finally figure it out and clear the dungeon, you get a special chest with a bunch of really good items that sell for thousands in your shop. You can always return to these dungeons and grind for specific materials, but once you reach the end, it's just a monster room with multiple chests, so don't expect to be able to grind for the boss's loot over and over again. There'd be so many times I was playing where I knew I couldn't do anything else. Either my inventory was full, or my health was really low, but I wanted to keep exploring. I wanted to see what else these dungeons had to offer so I can get my grubby hands on it. Now, when you're not in the dungeons, you're back home, working a typical 9 to 5, selling your wares, and trying to make an honest living. The game begins with Xenon, an old man in Renoka that, for argument's sake, is pretty much your grandpa. He tells you how he doesn't like what the town's become, and he wishes it would return to its former glory. Meanwhile, he also doesn't like the idea of you exploring dungeons, and he'd rather you just stay home and run the shop. But of course, we know that's not going to happen. As much as you may just want to explore the dungeons, running the shop's a big part of being able to succeed in this game. You need to take care of the shop, and treat it as if you were really running your own store, where you sold a bunch of weird items that, for some reason, people really want. You'll then take the money that you earn from selling all your findings in the dungeon to upgrade your shop, from the main floor to the amount of storage in the back room. The updates to the shop add a lot more depth, both physically and to the gameplay mechanics. You get more shelves for items, protected glass for important ones, and spots in the checkout stand for ornaments that'll make people tip even more when they're purchasing their items. You also get the ability to accept custom orders, where people come in and ask for a specific item that you'll get a set amount of days to go search for, and these requests usually make you some big bucks. But you can easily screw it up if you don't collect enough of the item, or if you forget to open the shop on the day the customer returns to pick it up. I've done this like 5 times now. It sucks. As a shop owner, you're also required to learn what's a solid price for all the stuff you're trying to sell. If you price things too high, people won't buy it, and on the other hand, if you price them too low, you won't get what you deserve for some items. Now, you could be like me and have the Moonlighter wiki pulled up every time you play so you get the prices right immediately, but it's also really fun to play the guessing game and learn what the customers find to be a fair price. And trust me, they'll tell you. You also have to make sure you don't sell one particular item too often, otherwise the demand will go down and you're going to make less money on it. As customers enter the shop, some of them have special signs to show what they're shopping for that day. Some are looking for weapons, others are looking to just spend a bunch of money, and sometimes you even get shoplifters who wander around and start waiting for their moment to snag something and haul ass out of there with thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. There also is a really cool little Legend of Zelda cameo in there. Damn, Link's aged a lot since we saw him last, huh? If I'm being completely honest, running the shop's probably my favorite part of the game. It's a task that needs to be done, but it doesn't outstay its welcome. Moonlighter has a simple map where you really only have 4 places to explore: your shop, the dungeon entrances, the dungeons themselves, and the town. The town consists of 5 other shops aside from yours: Vulcan's Forge, the Wooden Hat, the Retailer, the Hawker, and the Banker. Vulcan's Forge is the first shop you'll get, and probably the shop you'll use the most. Here's where you bring all the materials you find in the dungeons to forge powerful weapons and equipment. The Wooden Hat's a potion shop, where you purchase a bunch of medicine for when you're in the dungeon, and you can also enchant your weapons to do even more damage. The Retailer is probably your biggest competition, but just in the lore, so don't worry about them taking the money away from you. The people who work here are also dungeon hunters, so they come back and sell items for way more than you do. So you only really need to use this place if you're in desperate need for an item. One time I was trying to complete a customer request, and I could not find the items that I needed. So quick math, to make $30,000 off of 5 items, I had to buy 2 of them for $9,000 each, so I had to spend $18,000 to make a measly $12,000 off of that transaction. You know, now that I think about it, it's actually still a lot of money. The Hawker is actually where you buy special decorations that help with the shop's popularity by increasing the maximum number of customers you can have at once, how fast customers will shop, and how long you can stay open. And then there's the Banker. You give the Banker a portion of your money, and he'll do whatever magic banking tricks he does to either make it into more money, or just make all your money disappear. I haven't quite figured out yet if this is entirely RNG, or if there's any way I can actually sway the outcome of it. But I honestly used it once, lost $500, and finished the game. So it's honestly not very important. I do have one big critique I do want to mention about this game. The gameplay itself and all the mechanics I think were great, but I did have a few issues while I was in the dungeons. I found myself dodging into a wall and phasing through it, now stuck in place where I cannot finish the level and had to soft reset my game. But I'm sure a simple patch could fix that. My nightly routine for the last couple weeks has just been throw on Netflix or YouTube, watch a series, and play Moonlighter for hours and hours. I'm only a little bit upset that I didn't know there was a super cool special edition with the soundtrack, signed poster, medallion, and figurine of the Jelly Monster. So Digital Sun, if you're seeing this and you want to hook a guy up with a special edition for his PS4, I wouldn't say no. I'm usually not into roguelike games or dungeon crawlers, but this one particularly really spoke to me, and I'd personally recommend it to anybody who has a Switch. But it's also on all of the consoles, if that's your cup of tea. I'm excited to see what's next for Digital Sun, and hopefully the next game is as great as this one. I've had an overwhelming love for indie games the last couple years, and this is definitely the first of many more indie game reviews to come. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the little bell so that way every time I upload a video you guys get notified. I hope you guys enjoyed this impressions video. I definitely want to keep doing these for more indie games. Currently I don't have anything else that I'm playing that I'm really excited to talk about, but it's 2019, we have a bunch of games coming up, and I have some more ideas that aren't necessarily impressions, they're more like here's what I'm thinking. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure you leave a like below, comment what you think. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure you leave a like, comment below. If you've played Moonhunter, haha, different game. I wonder if I've said Moonhunter at all during this video. I hope I haven't.